Okay, today I'm going to talk to you about flick putting, and I'm going to do a test on some of my ideas of what may be the best disc for flick putting. And we're going to talk all about it right after the intro. Okay guys, I've got a whole stack of discs that I have begged, borrowed, and stole, or I've had them in my collection, and I'm going to test these out as far as how good are they for flick putting, and is there one better than the other. Now, spoiler alert, it really comes down to what you get used to and how you like to throw it. So this really is just me throwing a bunch of different plastic in my backyard. But anyway, we're going to try these out, and there may be something that stands out to me that I wasn't expecting, but I'm going to bring you along. Now, I will say this. This is just kind of the big lid type disc, more of the fatter disc. I've got a whole nother stack of just regular putters that we're going to do after this, but that'll probably be a separate video because, I mean, look at this stack. And this isn't even all of them. And I know some people are going to yell, well, what about this? What about that? I tried to grab as many as I could, but there are a bunch out there, but we're going to see how these do. And maybe one will jump out as one that's better than the others. We'll see. So let's go start throwing. Okay, now full disclosure, I just wanted to pull out some of my older discs. I got old Arrow from, let's see, when is this? This is like 1999 or something like that. And this one I bought, but it's a 2014 back in the day. I got to play in Japan, and so this kind of reminded me of it. But so this is an old Nova, and this is an old Arrow. I don't really think they're going to be great, but I wanted to kind of flex and pull out some old plastic. But anyway, so here's the thing. The reason why I want to go with bigger discs is because a lot of people tend to think that you're just jamming the putt right at the basket, and so it doesn't really matter. But I want more of a floaty disc, especially with my ultimate background. I want something more like a lid that I can take off the power and float it in there and drop it in. So I want kind of that balance of something that won't get too beat up in the wind and something that'll have some touch along with being able to pop it right at it. I really do like my Innova birdies. They're kind of my favorite for that touch. The biggest caveat to those is the wind will grab it more than some of the others, and that's why I went to the Berg. But I'm finding that I like to switch back and forth between the Berg and the birdie depending on what I'm doing, because I can really kind of shape that birdie around stuff. So anyway, I'm just going to throw a bunch of them, and see if anything stands out. So here we go. I'll start with my birdie, and when I'm throwing this, a lot of times I'm thinking about throwing it up, and because it's understable, I'm letting it come out here and just drag across to the basket. Now we'll do the Berg. Same kind of thing, but it pushes more than the birdie. It kind of pushes through things. Makes sense. It doesn't have as much glide. Before I came across the Berg, I was looking at the Madrone as a replacement for the birdie just because of better plastic. The birdie and the DX plastic gets beat up too much. But so this should be very similar. Push that out. All right, let's look at the pig. If you haven't seen my pig challenge with Robbie C, pig challenge. And see, I'm not trying to blast it at it. I'm trying to get a little nose up and float it in there. Speaking of float, let's do the glitch. Now, I do have a breeze coming across here. You got to do that balance of glide and float versus being able to push through. And I think the glitch is just a little glitchy. All right, let's try the Rhino. And basically feels almost like a Rhino, the Glow Ringer GT. That was me. All right, I never tried it before, but let's do the Rattler. Feels light, but I mean, that's basically a lid right there. I just kind of, it feels a little too beach plasticky frisbee, if that makes sense. I don't really like it that much. Caltrop. Oh, you see the wind just sat on that. Landmine. That actually felt pretty good. Yep, I got two guards. I kind of like the feel of that one. That one's a little stiffer. I'm gonna get rid of that one. Okay. Dagger. Oh, peak. I'm pushing those. Polecat. Arrow. Oh, I just don't like it's kind of got a sweep on the bottom. It's not a straight up and down, so I don't like that feel for the forehand. I knew I wasn't gonna like that, but I just kind of threw it in there. All right, let's try the Nova. Good, I didn't like that one either. This feels pretty good, but it just feels, it's got a puddle top to it. All right, and same thing with the blowfly. It's got that kind of swoop on the inside that kind of feels like your finger's trying to fight it instead of getting a good grip to it. But I tell you what, my buddy Richard Brown was nailing those playing doubles the other day. He was putting like a champ. He was putting regular, but he could put that blowfly in from forever on the course. I can tell you right away which ones I don't like just based on feel alone, and this is totally subjective. Yeah, this just feels like a slick, cheesy little frisbee. Sorry. Don't like it. These guys, out of here. So sorry, Robbie, killing the polecat too. I just don't like the feel of it in my hand. It doesn't sit well. I want that thumb track, which I can't explain the landmine, but I think it's the sharp edges. It just feels secure in my hand, and I think it may be just that solid wall with this right here. Now, I beat the mess out of this thing, but it still feels pretty good. Goes the Copperhead. Oh. Copperhead's a little bigger, feels a little clunkier. That was the Guard. Guard feels nice. Rhino. Let's face it, the Rhino and the Pig feel very similar. My drone. Oh, did you see that wind bounce it? All right, here's the Berg. I thought that wind would set it down. That was a Dagger. Caltrop. Woohoo, nailed it. And then the birdie. Yeah, it's funny. Your head, your body and your head sort of react to different discs. Okay folks, this is round 2 of me trying out the different discs to try to figure out if there are any better discs for flick putting than the 2 I already love. And so far the answer is no, but I do have some other ones in here that I do like that maybe you will like better than the ones that I like. Does that make sense? Anyway, let's go throw a few more. So now I'm just going to simply go through these again, and we're just going to see how they do. So I've got the Guard. The Guard feels good. It feels kind of like it could go in there between the Birdie and the Berg. It's almost like right in that slide in between those two. So I like the feel of it. Oh, a couple discs that I did not put in last time because I forgot and left them in the car. I also got an X-Out Sake Bomb Slammer, and I don't think I had this one in there before, the Soft Banger GT. I like the feel of it. I'm not really a fan of it's got a extra bead on it here, so it feels a little, I don't like the bead on it for this throw. For some reason, it just feels like it drags a little. But we got it out, and it's okay. To be honest, the Sake Bomb Slammer, for some reason, I just like and respond to the thumb track, so those feel good. That was the Copperhead, the Pig, the Madrone, the Berg. Oh, this is what I used, the Horny Toad. I took it around with me. I thought I'd throw it in because I was enjoying it a little bit. It's more of a puddle top than a thumb track, but it feels pretty good. Somebody suggested trying that one. There's the end of a birdie. That's my wonderful bullseye birdie. Here's a Rhino, a landmine. I got a little floaty. There is a little bit of a headwind. This is the Caltrop. And then finally, oh, I got a second Guard. So, Right away we can tell this is the worst disc out there. No, that was just a bad putt on mine. Yeah, I mean, I could keep going with these. That all putt fine. It's what you get used to. You just get used to what you like, and you just start to dial in that shot. So any of these I really like. I want something a little domier, a little more like an ultimate frisbee for some reason. I respond to that from my ultimate background. It just fits my head. It might not fit yours. As a matter of fact, I'm gonna do another video where I'm just gonna use regular putters and we're gonna talk about those. But for this batch, I'd really almost suggest all of these. Let's see, the ones that I probably wouldn't, as much as I like this, it does feel good. It's a little bit bigger and it does feel a little bit more like a sail. And so it kind of combines the worst two aspects of the Berg and the birdie in that it just kind of wants to plow, but it also wants to rise. And so I would eliminate that. Kind of the same thing for the Copperhead. It feels all right, but it's big and kind of clunky. It's a little bit bigger disc. It just feels like it's fighting you a little. The X Out didn't feel bad. It feels kind of like the Pig, kind of like anything else. It's a little bit of a sharp edge. I don't mind that too much. As a matter of fact, no, I don't mind that at all. The Rhino, actually, I prefer the feel of the X Out over the Rhino. The Rhino just feels, and it could be the plastic, but this one just feels a little hard and it's hitting my finger at kind of a weird place there. I do like the Horny Toad, but it's a 4-speed. That was just to throw it in there. The Banger doesn't feel too bad as far as, I like the top, but I don't like the interaction of the bead at the bottom. 2 guards, either one. I do like the guard. Here, we'll use that one. X Out, I keep. The Pig is good, but I kind of talked about this before. It kind of just wants to push. It's a little bit of a finicky, because if you miss, you're really gonna miss. And so I'd probably get rid of that one as well. The Madrone feels like a Berg and a birdie had a baby. But to be honest, it's a little rounded. It feels okay. I almost wish it was a little sharper edged up top just to get a little bit more grip, but I don't mind it. Of course, the Berg and the birdie. The Caltrop doesn't feel bad, but once again, it's that hard edge right here. Something about the way it interacts with my finger here. It feels okay, but it feels like it wants to scrape across my finger as I throw it. So I would probably, they're not bad, definitely usable, and some people would probably do great with these discs. They're just not for me. So I'm gonna do one more round with these. If I was gonna put them in order right now, I would go birdie, Berg, guard, Madrone, and weirdly enough, the Slammer. I didn't expect to feel it, but it's kind of hitting that same spot too, so it's definitely last on the list, but maybe because it's new, I just wanted to throw it in there. Let's do it one more time. Oh. Yeah, so at the end of the day, besides the Madrone, I just missed through it. I think something that's a little bit bigger fits in your hand. It really comes down to the feel and touch of your hand, because most of the time, the distance isn't gonna be that great on the putting. Now, when it comes to approaching, once I start getting farther back, depending on the wind, if it's windy, I will put the birdie down and I'll go with the Berg to fight through the wind. And it's also a little more stable, so I can throw it out and let it drive back in. Whereas the birdie has a little more play to it, especially this one, because I beat to crap. I call it my one-legged dog. If you had a one-legged dog and it tried to run, it would just kind of go around like this. And that's kind of how I feel about this. But what I can do with this is I can throw it up and I know it's just going to drag back to the basket like that. So depending on how far in my situation, I will go back and forth between the Berg and the birdie. But for a long time, I was just doing the birdie, and then I was just doing the Berg. And so it can change depending on how you're feeling, how your shot's shaping. But then I like the guard a lot too. It could be kind of the blend of these two. So these are literally my top 3 right here. I would say any one of these, if you made me play with them and nothing else, I would be quite happy. So there you go. Hope that helps, and I hope to see you out on the course.